Welcome to episode 2 of Party at the Prosthetist. The suspense has been building and you guys have been writing in and wondering who is our special guest this week. So sit tight because I'm about to tell you. You might have seen her a few years ago in a Toyota Super Bowl commercial, or maybe you saw her at the ESPYs, one of the many times she's won, or maybe you saw her standing on top of the Paralympic podium winning gold. She's an author, a speaker, an advocate, a dog mom, and one of America's most decorated athletes with 29 Paralympic Games medals and 5 world records. Joining our Party at the Prosthetist today is Jessica Long. Yay.
Hello.
Hey, Jess.
Hi.
Jess, you've been coming to Eric and a step ahead almost as long as you've been killing it in the pool. Can you tell us a little bit about your story and your road to a step ahead prosthetic?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I was put up for adoption by a 16-year-old Russian girl, and due to my birth defect, fibular hemimelia, she just couldn't take care of me. And around that time, my now parents, Steve and Beth in Baltimore, had 2 kids, wanted a larger family, found out about me, and decided to adopt me and another little boy in the same orphanage. And then it's amazing because they ended up having 2 more little girls. So big family. Growing up though was really hard at times, right? Being the girl with no legs, especially at the age of 18 months, my legs were amputated so I could be fitted with prosthetic legs and learn to walk. But I think the reason I love swimming, it was a place that I didn't have to wear my legs. And growing up with the amount of surgeries that I had, I was just in constant pain. And I think at that point, before I found Eric and a step ahead, nobody could find a good fit. And it got really bad when I was at the age of 14. And it was just such a challenging year. I couldn't stand or walk for longer, maybe 10 minutes. And, my family, we sat down and we were just like, we have to do something about this. There has to be something else out there better for my legs and my prosthetics. So my mom actually found a step ahead just because with the reviews and how incredible Eric is, and we just decided as a family to give it a shot. And I'll never forget when I first showed up and I got to meet the whole team at a step ahead and meet Eric. And I just remember thinking, I will do anything to come here just because I trusted him so much.
Thank you for sharing, and I know many people probably know your story, but hearing those details just really highlight what an incredible and inspiring person you are and what you've been through and how you've overcome it with such grace and poise. And I think it's also remarkable to hear, obviously my timeline is a lot shorter than yours, but I've had such a similar experience of trying to find a prosthetic company where I can get that sense of trust and comfort and feel great in a prosthetic, and found it here.
Yeah.
Before we get to your achievements in the water, I want to talk a little bit about life with a prosthetic outside of the water. As a new amputee, I've looked to you for inspiration, not only in the pool, but also in the way that you carry yourself and approach opportunities. For me, it's been and still is a really big adjustment to get used to the new way that I look. How have you worked on and developed such great confidence and courage throughout your journey?
Wow, thanks. That's a really good question because it definitely is a journey. Growing up before the Paralympics, I actually never wore shorts. I did not want to wear shorts. I did not like when people stared, and it was very hard. But as I got older and started finding swimming, it just gave me the confidence. And my parents said one of the biggest things they've ever witnessed was when I started wearing shorts. But it's still a journey, and I'll never forget there was one time I actually had reached out to Eric. And I think for me, he had been waiting for this moment because all of my life, my legs had looked very realistic. From the time that I was a little girl, my very first set of legs always looked very real. But I rode him one day and I just had this confidence, why not try the bone legs? And I think he said something really, Eric, right? He said something so sassy or oh, finally. But I think that was a really big turning point for me to finally truly embrace the way that I am. And, I'm fortunate enough where missing both of my legs, if I have a bad day, right, I can put on really loose pants and no one would ever know. But I don't really want to hide the way that I've been born, right? I want to embrace it and I want to show others because I think it's this incredible ripple effect, right? We all impact each other, especially as amputees. I'm so inspired by so many people's stories, by your story, by the Paralympics, all of their stories. But I think for me, that was a really big turning point, and I'll never forget how truly confident and beautiful I felt when I put on my pole legs for the first time. And I went out to dinner with my girlfriends, and I think it was wow, I've been missing this for a long time to actually showcase my bone legs.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And I think even just me hearing that story, like I came home from my first few prosthetic appointments and put all my shorts and skirts in a big plastic bin and said, take it to the basement, I'm never wearing them again. And so to hear like how far you've come is again inspiring for me to even learn from too.
Thanks. And it's not like, it doesn't just happen overnight, right? Like it is such a process. And I still have really tough days. Like there are days where I have to get out of my head and say, Jess, like, this is just a bad day. It's not a bad life. And I'm so thankful for all of my friends and family because it's amazing to lean on them.
Jess, you talked a little bit about the confidence that sport has given you. So let's switch gears and talk a little bit about swimming. You're an absolute phenom in the water. You're training for your 6th Paralympic Games in Paris this August.
Yeah.
And as a former college athlete myself, it felt important for me to put in perspective to people how fast you really are. Only 7% of high school swimmers are recruited to swim collegiately, and your times would put you as a recruited college athlete. And that's looking at high school swimmers with all of their limbs, and you're a bilateral amputee. So to think about that in a sport where, you know, feet and legs are fundamental and a kick is a huge part of the sport and the top swimmers spend the majority of races underwater, to think about what you've achieved as a bilateral amputee is absolutely stunning. And I think for me, even thinking about my own times as a D1 recruited college athlete, I never broke a minute in the 100 fly, and that was with 2 feet, and with no feet, just broke a minute in the 100 fly. And you know, I could keep going. I think you've trained with Michael Phelps and the elite, and so to think about sort of the level of success you've had in a sport where kick is paramount is honestly mind-blowing. Can you just tell everyone what they're wondering, which is how do you do it?
Well, thanks. I love all the stats and everything. You know, growing up, I never wanted my legs to define me. And I think in some way, my adoption played a huge role, right? When you talk about being born without legs and abandonment, I wanted to feel enough. And I found swimming, which was an amazing place for me to throw my frustration or anything that I was feeling that day. And it allowed me, I think because there were so many complex things happening in my life, swimming was that outlet where I could just put my entire heart, soul, like everything into it. But I really watched a lot of other swimmers, right? And I had an incredible coach who has still coached me to this day whenever I need help, Andrew Barenko, but he knew how to navigate my stroke without a kick. And I did. I watched body position. I took little bits from each swimmer that I ever saw. And when I started beating the boys, I was like, okay. But I think for me, swimming was always this place that I felt like I had an even playing field in some way. Like I didn't have the kick, but I was going to be the highest in the water to allow me to just fly through. But there did come a point where I really, really got sick of people looking down on Paralympics. And we see so much now, even the Super Bowl commercial, that was huge for the Paralympic movement. But there was a time when, you know, all of my friends would be like, gosh, you're an Olympian. And I'd be like, well, I'm not, like, I am, but I'm not, right? The word parallel to the Olympic Games, like I didn't want to be, I am so proud to be a Paralympic athlete, and it doesn't grow the sport if we all pretend we're Olympic athletes. But I'll never forget, there was one time that I was just kind of sick of it, and I was doing like a speech with Bob Bowman, who's Michael Phelps' coach, lifelong coach. And we went back to, I think, the airport together, and I was like, what do you think about me coming back to Baltimore and training with you guys? And he was up for it, and he was actually trying to train me for the 100 fly Olympic trials cut, because I don't think there had been another amputee that had done that.
So not only did she break a minute when I didn't, but she also was going for the Olympic trials cut.
Oh my goodness. But I think for me that really showed, like I swam with 16 Olympic athletes, and you know, every day with Michael on the pool deck I would waddle over and I'm come up to his hip, and I swam with Allison Schmidt and all these incredible athletes. But every single day as an amputee I had to go and give 110%. I couldn't show up and have a bad day. But to me, I think that proved that no matter whatever people think, right, I am just as good enough, and you can always adapt. And that's what I really learned in swimming, even swimming with the Olympic athletes.
We have a little show and tell for you. Someone here, and it's not me, has won 29 Paralympic Games medals and brought one of them for the viewers and me. It's good to see. Can we give it a little closer?
Oh, this old thing?
Oh, that old thing?
So this is a Paralympic gold medal. This was on a relay. I love the gold because I think it's my favorite color.
It's a good favorite color.
But it's amazing because they have Braille. They put Braille for the visually impaired athletes. This is the Paralympic symbol, right? The Agitos. But this is really cool. But also, you know, like, this is what I'm training for, but there was a time in my life that this was where all of my worth came from, right? A gold medal. And it took me a long time to realize that I just love to swim. I'm not just a swimmer, and I think that's huge. And no matter what you're going through, like, this can't define me, right? I want to be defined by my character and how I treat people, but I also love getting to stand on top of the podium. And I actually just had this thought the other day. But there's, like, right, no matter whatever we all go through, right, we have so many people who support and love us. And a question I get asked all the time is, what is it like to stand on top of the podium? And I was thinking it yesterday, like, because I want to write Eric a really nice thank you card, but I was like, wow, Eric has been with me the last couple Paralympics as I've received my gold medal with my 2 prosthetic legs, and how it's not just me standing up there, but it's every single person who's gotten me this far. So it was a cool thought.
It's so true. It takes a village. Jess, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, well, I think this is amazing, but I just wanted to tell you how much inspiration you give me. And seeing you swim and seeing your parents, like, get their cameras ready and watch, just because I've been a part of this for so long. But you have given me renewed strength. And just the other day, I was going through a practice, and I was like, if Allie can do it, then I can do it too. Aww. And I just wanted you to know that, because I think you are so incredible. And just seeing everything that you're going through and navigating, especially, you know, I've done this for like my whole life, but I am so encouraged and inspired by you.
Thank you. That means so much. So Jess and I are gonna go get some work in downstairs with them.
Now, come on now. You one of them girls that ain't trying to meet nobody. You're just here for the party. If I'm wrong, then stop me. You one of them